All right, it is officially game week for Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs as they take on the Clemson Tigers in Atlanta this Saturday. And of course, Kirby Smart had his press conference earlier this week and had a lot to say about Clemson quarterback Cade Klubnik. Of course, you can read all of it for free, by the way, over on Dog Post. But I definitely want to come on here and share Kirby Smart's comments on Clemson's starting quarterback, a guy that I'm not super high on. But I'll be honest, I think Kirby Smart is exactly right when he's talking about Clemson's quarterback. Here's what he had to say. He said, quote, "It seems like he's been there forever, and this is really his third year, but he's a great, really good athlete. He's played a lot of football for a guy his age and has the ability to scramble and make plays with his feet. He's got weapons around him. I think he's a lot more comfortable now in their offense. You could see that throughout last year as you watch this season go on, how much more comfortable he got, especially when they started going to Phil Maffa a lot more as their featured back and became more of a physical team. The addition of Matt Luke, who's a tremendous coach, he was here with us. I think that makes him even more versatile in some of the things he's going to bring to the table. But Cade has been a great asset for them, and I know he'll be very experienced." So, and those are great comments, right? The kid can move, he's mobile, he flashes big playability here and there, but Kirby Smart didn't talk about how accurate he was. He didn't talk about Cade Klubnik is really good at throwing into tight windows. Cade Klubnik can come from behind against a good team and win a game. He never said that Cade Klubnik can play winning football for 4 quarters. If he said that, it would have all been a lie, right? And I've said for a while, I like this Clemson team, and I think Cade Klubnik is good enough to lead them to an ACC title. Unfortunately, he's not playing Wake Forest in Atlanta, right? He's not playing Boston College or Florida State or Duke or whoever, right? He's playing the Dogs. And I just don't think Cade Klubnik is good enough to beat Georgia with his arm. I've said before, and I'm going to talk about, what he did last year, what he needs to improve, what he has to do to beat Georgia in just a second. But if Clemson does beat Georgia, it's not because of Cade Klubnik. I would be shocked if Cade Klubnik put the offense on his back and threw their way to a victory. If Clemson wins, it's because they ran through Georgia, had a very successful rushing attack, and he got the ball out to his receivers. That's what he needs to do. Cade Klubnik is the guy that got sacked 8 times against the Kentucky defense that didn't do anything against Georgia last year. I mean, Georgia bullied Kentucky, pushed them around, pushed them backwards for 4 quarters. And that same Kentucky defense had their way with that Clemson offensive line and Cade Klubnik. Even though Clemson won the game, you watch Cade Klubnik and you're thinking, this guy is going to play the Dogs to start next year? It's going to be rough. Now, I will say, he's got weapons. I'm going to go over their wide receiver core in just a second. Phil Maffa, the running back they have, he's a senior. I covered him in high school at Grayson. He is a thumper. He is a tackle-breaking machine, 230, okay? They're going to give him the ball a lot. Georgia's going to have to stop him. But if Cade Klubnik wants to have a successful game, first off, I think he needs to be near perfect if they're going to beat the Dogs. But he's got to get the ball out quickly to his receivers. There's no way he's going to be able to stay in the pocket, buy time, and go through the progressions and make throws that way. I don't know if he can play quarterback. Like Kirby Smart said, he's a good athlete. And yeah, he can run around. And he was a tremendous high school quarterback. He gets a lot of respect for that. He is not the 5-star quarterback that he was supposed to be out of high school, at least not yet. And I don't think he's going to look like that against Georgia. But he does have some weapons. In fact, my best friend growing up, big Clemson fan, he texted me this morning. He said, "Matt, I know you're never wrong about anything in life, but I got to let you know, Clemson's got some receivers, and they're probably a little better than you think." He said TJ Moore is going to be a first-round pick. He said that's an absolute dog. That is a DeAndre Hopkins, Sammy Watkins, Justin Ross, T. Higgins type of talent. I said, okay, we'll see it. Antonio Williams is a good player. Tyler Brown is a receiver I really like. Bryant Wesco is another receiver who is only going to get better. Jake Brenningstool, the senior tight end. I mean, they've got weapons. And I will say this about their offensive line, even though they at times looked like complete trash last year. That's mean, but I'm just trying to be real. When I tuned in, they were getting handled. But they are a veteran-led group. They've got a lot of experienced players on that offensive line. They may not be the most talented, but I do think they'll have some type of chemistry because how can you not? When you've got veterans and experienced guys all across the offensive line. They may not be that great, but maybe they are a little better this year. Maybe Cade Klubnik does take a step forward. He has to, because the last 6 games of the season, although they won 5 of the last games to end the season. It wasn't because of Cade Klubnik. That guy threw 6 touchdowns and 6 interceptions over the last 6 games of the season, got sacked 14 times. This is a guy who holds onto the ball a little too much. I don't think he can go through his progressions or is going to have the time to do that against Georgia. He's going to be running for his life. Thankfully, he can run, and he is a little athletic. But if he wants to beat the Dogs, it's got to be, first read, get it out to the wide receiver. If it's not there, check it down or run for your life. He's not going to have enough time to go, okay, that guy's covered. Let's go to the second progression. Oh, that guy's covered. Let me buy a little bit more time and find a third guy. That's not going to happen. He's going to be crushed into the ground if he looks for his second or third receiver. It's one guy. If it's not there, get out to the running back or run for your life. That's what's going to happen. They need to simplify things for him. They need to make it easy on Cade Klubnik, because he's going to get crushed if he's back there looking for open guys, right? If I'm Clemson, what am I doing to make things easier for him? And to do that, it's the screen and short passing game. They'll try to test Georgia deep a couple of times because you have to, right? You're not going to nickel and dime Georgia up and down the field all game long. You need some explosive plays. You need some big throws. I don't know if he's the guy who can do it. I just don't think he's consistent. I don't think he's consistently accurate. I don't know if he can play quarterback yet. He's a good athlete with a good arm, but it seems when I watched him some last year that he was just trying to do too much. His head was scrambled. He was running like a chicken with his head cut off half the time. And even in, I guess it was against the Miami game in overtime, he just tried to do too much. And I think it was in overtime, it was a read option. I might have this wrong. It was a read option. Should have handed the ball off. Instead, he took it. He tried to be the hero. He tried to win the game. And he got crushed in the backfield. Game over. I wanted to see him progress as the year went along, and he didn't. They beat Notre Dame, but he threw for 109 yards and 1 touchdown. They beat Georgia Tech. He threw 4 touchdowns. That was a quality win and a quality performance, even though he threw for barely 200 yards. Same with North Carolina. Barely threw for 200 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Against South Carolina, 100 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. Against Kentucky, threw for 264, 0 touchdowns again, and 1 interception. Got sacked 8 times. He was 30 for 41, which is what he needs to do. He's got to get the ball out quickly. So he doesn't need to necessarily play quarterback, because if he does and he tries to go through his progressions and, try to do what Carson Beck already proved he could do last year, it's going to be a bad deal. So I think he's got to get the ball out quickly. He needs a little time from the offensive line. I don't know if he's going to get it. He needs that run game to get going. If not, and they're down in the second half and they have to throw their way to victory, it's not happening. They are not going to win. And I don't want to trash the kid, because I think he's a good quarterback. He's a solid ACC quarterback, right? And I mean that as a compliment. He's not good enough to play at Georgia. He would not start over Carson Beck. I'm not sure he'd start over Gunnar Stockton. Maybe he gets better. Maybe he does take that step from year 2 to year 3. A lot of quarterbacks do, and I think a lot of people in Tiger Town are expecting him to be better. He's got to be a lot better if they want to beat the Dogs. And again, I think he'll have a fine season, and I do think there's a chance that he does look better than he did last year. Looks a little more comfortable, can make a few more throws here and there, but he doesn't have to do it all himself. And if he tries to do too much against the Dogs, he's throwing interceptions. He's getting sacked in the backfield. He's not doing his job if he's trying to do too much. He's got to get it to everyone else. That's what he has to do. He has to distribute the ball, take care of the football, but get it to the right guys quickly and put the pressure on Georgia to shed a block and go make a tackle on the wide receiver, on the outside, on the perimeter. And occasionally he'll run here and there. He is a dual threat guy, and I think he's great against the Boston colleges. And I'm sure he'll look great against Stanford and Cal and Syracuse. He'll look great. He's not playing against them on Saturday. It's going to be a tough day for Cade Klubnik. if he tries to do too much, and he tried to do too much a lot last year. We'll see if he improves. Thanks for watching. That's all I got. You can read more about this over on Dog Post. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one.